In the untold reaches of the galaxy, where stars burn and shadows stretch between worlds, brothers were forged in fire, lords of war, legends of heroism, and yet destined for betrayal. This is not just the tale of warriors. It is the story of bloodlines torn apart, of loyalty shattered, of a dream so vast it consumed those who dared to hold it. This is the rise and fall of the Primarchs. Part 1. The creation of the Primarchs. In the 30th millennium, humanity stood on the brink. The galaxy was fractured, worlds isolated, torn apart by warp storms and anarchy. But the Emperor of Man, immortal, brilliant, godlike, envisioned a destiny greater than any species had ever dared. A future united under his golden banner. No gods, no superstition, only reason, progress, and strength. But vision alone could not conquer the stars. He needed generals, he needed sons, he needed instruments that were not quite human, but not mere monsters either. And so, he forged the Primarchs, 20 in number, each carved with purpose, each sculpted from his very essence. They were more than soldiers. They were architects of destiny, leaders, kings, angels of war in human flesh. But the galaxy is never silent. The dark gods, entities that lurk in the warp, born from human emotion itself, sensed the Emperor's ambition. They saw in his dream a threat, a defiance against their eternal hunger. And so, they struck. The Primarchs were stolen, torn from their father's cradle, scattered across distant stars. Each landed on a different world. Some savage, some noble, some cursed beyond comprehension. And there, they grew, not as the Emperor intended, but as fate demanded. One child raised among barbarians, another among scholars. One forged in fire and desert storms, another in the icy silence of death. Their nature twisted by circumstance, their souls tempered by pain. By the time the Emperor found them again, they were no longer blank slates. They were men with histories, scars, and destinies of their own. Some learned honor, others cunning. Some became saints in human eyes, others whispered villains. Yet all were bound by threads invisible, the storm that was to come. Part 2. Rise of the Primarchs and the Great Crusade. One by one, the Emperor sought them out. Across the galaxy, he found his lost sons, and one by one, they bent the knee, sometimes willingly, sometimes after bitter war. But each reunion brought strength. Each Primarch commanded not only his own will, but a legion, tens of thousands of space marines, warriors engineered from his very gene seed. Thus began the Great Crusade. A war without end, a march across the stars to reunite mankind under a single rule. Where the Primarchs walked, worlds fell silent. Rebellions were crushed in days. Alien empires that had stood for millennia crumbled beneath the thunder of bolters and the roar of drop pods. To the scattered human colonies, they appeared as saviors, angels clad in steel, bringing them back to the light of Terra. To their enemies, they were nightmares, bringing fire and ruin. Hope returned to a galaxy that had long forgotten it. Humanity began to believe that perhaps, at last, the darkness could be banished. But hope can be fragile. For in the hearts of men, whether mortal or godlike, ambition stirs. And where there is ambition, there is jealousy. Where there is loyalty, there is doubt. And the seeds of betrayal do not sprout in empty soil. They feed on pride. They feed on silence. They feed on the shadows of trust. Part 3. The seeds of betrayal. Among the Primarchs, none shone brighter than Horus Heresy, beloved son of the Emperor, raised to the rank of Warmaster, charismatic, peerless, adored by his brothers. He was unity made flesh, the blade that cut a path through endless night. But even the brightest stars cast shadows. Horus was wounded in battle, betrayed not by blade, but by whispers. The powers of chaos saw their moment. They wrapped him in lies and visions. They showed him futures dripping with blood, thrones built on the bones of his brothers. They promised him the one thing his father never offered, the chance to be more than just a weapon. To be a god. Whispered echo. Is the Emperor's mission truly noble, or is he a tyrant? Doubt took root. Was the Emperor truly the savior of mankind, or a god-king who sought to rule it for himself? Was he hiding truths, keeping his sons as pawns in a game far larger than they could see? Some Primarchs resisted the lies. Some clung fiercely to their father's vision, but others listened. They wondered, they drifted, and so cracks formed in the Brotherhood. A family forged in fire, now splintered by shadows. Part 4. The Horus Heresy. The breaking point came swift, like lightning through dry wood. Horus declared rebellion. Half the legions turned their banners against Terra. Brother raised blade against brother. The stars burned as civil war consumed the galaxy. Worlds bled. Armies clashed across thousands of battlefields. The names became legend: Istvan, Kalth, Prospero. Each planet scarred, each a graveyard of dreams. Some Primarchs died defending the Imperium. Others embraced corruption fully, their bodies and souls twisted by chaos into monstrous forms. The Emperor himself, forced at last from his throne of planning and visions, marched to war, father against son, brother against brother. The dream of unity shattered. Part 5. The Aftermath and Consequences. The war ended on Terra, in fire and ruin. The Emperor faced Horus in a final duel, father against his most beloved son. And though the Emperor triumphed, it was no victory, for his mortal body was shattered. His golden dream ended upon a throne of pain, where he has sat immobile ever since. The loyal Primarchs, scattered, broken. Some disappeared into myth. Some still fight, shadows in the farthest stars. The traitors, damned for eternity, serve their dark masters, imprisoned within the eye of terror. The galaxy would never heal. The Great Crusade had promised hope. The Horus Heresy delivered only grief. Part 6. Legacy of the Primarchs. And yet, the story does not end, for the Primarchs remain, in legend if not in flesh, their deeds carved into eternity, their sins echoing in every shadow of the Imperium. Some are worshipped as saints, others cursed as demons, but together they remind us of the truth, that even gods can fall, that even brothers can betray, and that no dream, no matter how bright, survives without cost. Pause. Whispering fade. The Primarchs stand as mirrors of greatness, of tragedy. Their story is not just one of war, but of what it means to wield power, to be betrayed, to believe in something greater than yourself, and the cost it demands.